Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Irrecoverable debts and allowances. Prudence concept. We say that all non-losses and expenses should be recognized, whereas all non-income and profits should never be recognized until and otherwise it's realized in That's very important to understand this. Now the relationship, there is another definition as I explained before. The second definition is all losses and liabilities should never be understated. What do you mean by understated? Showing less, showing low. You must never do that. When come to liabilities and losses, always try to show the right picture. It's not good to hide it. On the other hand,
this example for recoverable bills.
coming, I'm related on that topic. You need this concept understanding. All on the other hand, all profits and assets must never be posted. Let's say Yasser has an uncle in UK. You call him and say that, okay, Yasser, I'm sending you £5,000 next month. So Yasser is very happy, started partying. He borrowed £5,000 from one of his friends. By how he borrowed, what way he borrowed? Next month, his uncle going to send this money as a gift. So he's very happy. So he says, okay, uncle is a trust man, good lie. So let me borrow 5,000 from one of my friends. 5,000 pounds. Now, maybe something like 25,000. Yeah. Then he started partying, going to shopping, buying. He has done a lot of things. So let's say 1st of September only he is supposed to give this money. 28th of August he is calling Yasser and saying, my son, extremely sorry, I lost my job. I can't send you this money. What will happen to the money that he borrowed. Can he settle? You can't do anything like this. So in real business life, we should never anticipate things and do actions. Is that clear? Now we talk about this topic, irrecoverable debts and allowances. Irrecoverable debts. Before those days, we use a different name. The name is actually bad debts. Now, new name is irrecoverable debts. Let's say I have 5 customers: A, B, C, D, and E. Customer A is 300, B 250. C 75, D 150, E 125. How much total now? 100, 350, 400, 500, 600, 700. Am I right? Suddenly we learn that this man traveled out of the country. He is not to be seen. He is not at all traceable. Phone is switched off, house is closed, and no tracing. Calling, sending people home. We cannot catch. We cannot receive this money. Or he has gone to the bank, courts, and then filed a case or application to claim himself a person known as bankrupted person. What do you mean by bankrupted person? He financially handicapped. Financially he is handicapped. He cannot meet any of his obligations. So he goes to court, my lord, I don't have anything. Then the court is issuing an order that he cannot pay anything, his financial condition is worse, so no one should force him to pay anything. In either situation, can you collect this money? Can we collect this? We cannot collect this. So is it any point keeping that money in my balance sheet under current assets? No point of keeping that. So if you keep in my current asset, how much I will show? I will be showing 700 riyal or $700. But really, how much I will, realistically, how much I will collect? 625. Only I can collect. So is that I am overstating assets? When I know I can only collect 625, but I am showing in my current asset 700, is that what I am overstating assets or not? I am overstating assets. And then when we talked about this concept here, that we should never be overstating our assets. So what should we do? We should remove this. The removing exercise is known as writing off irrecoverable debts. This debt is known as irrecoverable debts. How we define any debts? Definitely we know that this debt is not recoverable. Let's ask the Google check answer. clear, no? Difficult to read in Arabic, I try to read in Arabic. What is this word?
ديون
ديون. ديون غير. غير قبل للاسترداد. That means that we will never get it. Correct?
Yeah.
So this is exactly what we wanted to define. So let's define that.
ديون means
Receivable.
Like amount.
Hmm.
In this case, this 75 will put in expenses.
Yeah, خلاص. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. Let's think about first double entry. In the time of sales, what will you do? Let me define first. Define recoverable. Yes. Any receivable which won't be collected definitively. Means like لازم ضروري شو هو ما في هذا الأمر حرامي.
خلاص اكيد شو ما
أكيد ممكن هو حرامي ولا هو موت ولا هو سفر برا لكن هو حرامي. معلومه كده لازم يدفع فلوس. ليش هو ما حرامي؟ لكن هو نو سبورت. هو قلت له يا my lord I'm financially handicapped but no means to settle. So please help me. Then the court will do a review, check his financial condition. Then they will issue an order. No one should, in Sri Lanka, if someone goes to court and fight this situation, then the court will issue some condition to this guy. He cannot wear colored dress. White and white only he can wear. And in the car, he cannot sit on the back side, that's it. Normally, the British system, the people who are sitting on the left seat on the back side is executive seat. So if you get a order from the court, you are a bankrupted man, then you are sitting there, it's a punishable offense. Police can arrest you. And then even if you wear colored dress, still the police can arrest you. That's in Sri Lanka. Now, I don't know what the rule in Qatar though, but in Sri Lanka this is in UK also same. So be careful. Now here, now majority of the people wearing white and white here, and then if you say that they are bankrupted people, they will kill you.
which means the entire parliament Sri Lanka has to
Yeah,
have
exactly. Now in Sri Lanka, the entire parliament needs to be arrested. So anyway, this is the definition of irrecoverable debts. Now let's find out the very first double entry at the time of sales. Yeah, so can you tell me what is the double entry at the time of sales? Credit sales. Where you will debit and where you will credit.
Credit sales.
Obviously, credit the sale. Very good.
That's enough.
Where to debit?
cash.
No. That means I'm selling credit. How come you get cash? You will debit to
creditors.
receivable or trade debtors or receivables. Different, sometimes people use different names. Debtors, trade debtors, receivable, trade receivable. You can use any of those. Now, how much is the amount? 70? I'm just working on this. So, this is the first entry. After recording this, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, this man is never paid. The company must have a policy. After making a credit sale, how long you should wait to realize or to decide whether this debt is receivable or not receivable. Now some company they will decide in 30 days. Some company will decide in 60 days. Some company 180 days. Some company 365 days. It's a policy. Depending on the policy and also depending on the incident. Within the 30 days this man dies, can you collect the money? No. So no point of keeping that in the records. Or you heard that this man already suffered, he traveled. So if he traveled, then what can I do?
But if you die also, if you die, what is the children his partners?
A new partner. No? New partner, new. I'm doing a small bakala. Okay? You are a wholesale vegetable supplier. We are close friends. I every month buying from you 2,000, 3,000 riyal vegetable every week. And we know each other for like last 20 years. So you also know worry. Every other week I am paying money. So this week I purchased around 12,000 riyal worth of vegetable. And then end of the week, without sign entry, I went to Sri Lanka. Who will you catch? Who is the partner I will have? No one. Correct?
Yeah, that's important if you die.
Yeah.
After someone die, some people his batch account.
Officially, if I am a businessman, if I am dying, officially you can't do anything. Personally, his wife or children or someone is there, then if wife and children has a responsibility, finding out to whom this man need to pay and paying is another scenario. That comes with our Islamic rules and things coming. But from a business point of view, you all what you can do is there is something called deceased accounting records. You go to court saying that my lord, this man died. I have to collect this much money, and then the court can find out from the available the correct word is the word estate here is to refer the total assets. So the court will come to that particular business. You see, let's say this man died inside the vegetable shop. So the police will come and they will close the shop and they will take the body and then they will do the other part of the work. Later court will come and open the shop, find out what is inside. Door may have some money, some vegetable, furniture, AC, that and this is there. So and then, if, like you go to court and ask, okay, I need to collect this much money. What the court can do, they can sell all this, and then based on not only you, maybe there are 5 people, 10 people. They will prioritize, and then they will pay a portion of that to them. But then court is not obliged to do this. However, scenario here what I am referring is just an example. It can be his death, it can be his plan, he just covered without settling anybody. Alas, I'll give you an example. In Dubai, a man was working in one of the big leading bank. I think Emirates. Is that Emirates Bank? There is one Emirates Bank.
National Bank of Emirates.
Emirates NBD or NBD?
National
Yeah.
Bank of
National Bank of Dubai. Emirates National Bank of Dubai. This man is working as a senior manager. So what he did, he took a loan. Sri Lankan guy, yeah? He took a loan and then huge loan, and then he quit the job and he went to Sri Lanka. Then he joined one of the biggest banks in Sri Lanka, National Development Bank. Senior Executive Director, Finance. He joined there. Worked for like 7, 8, 9 years, and then he totally forgot the money that he needed to pay to Dubai. And this in National Development Bank got a conference in Switzerland. Every executives are traveling. He also traveled. He took a ticket from Emirates. So he took a transit in Dubai and then to go to Emirates. At the time of transit, police caught him. And then he has to sell all his property in Sri Lanka and then settle only, then only he can go back to Sri Lanka. And what happened in Sri Lanka, he was system also. So that's the way the Middle East security system is. However, if you plan a trip, then you can't do anything. So first double entry is this. And now we realize we cannot collect this money. Then we decide it's irrecoverable. We cannot collect. خلاص مع السلامة.
حتى يجي وين داخل المحاسبه، يعني يجي داخل بالانس شيت ولا بروفيت اند لوس ما يجي؟
अभी भी شوف هذا داخل balance sheet صح؟
اوكي.
هذا داخل P&L. You will show as top line sales.
لا ريكفر.
لا أنا يجي هذه أول هذا entry هذا يعني هذا amount balance sheet. هذه in the P&L you will show as sales.
سيلز.
Now you realize that this man is not going to pay me. Now here I am keeping this money in the balance sheet. No, sorry, not this. I am keeping this money that hoping he will pay me. And I also reported my sales. My sales increased. Actually, I sold water bottles. And the selling price of water bottle is $75. Actually, I sold. It's not a fake record. Customer came and took the water bottle equivalent to $75. So recording this double entry is correct. And also passing this double entry, we have another concept, accrual concept. Based on that only we did this. Now the issue is, this man is a crooked fellow. Father Nabal Babiji. What mini kati? And Ishar, Yamin Ishar. So then we realized that Walla Mafi Faita. No point of keeping this. We will seal kalas. We will remove from here. We remove from here. How to remove? We then we have to recognize that as an expense. So you what you do is you debit the governable debts and then credit. Where to credit? Very good. Who should decide this? In an organization like us accountants or managers or directors or the shareholders, who should decide to do this write-off? This entry we call it write-off. Huh? Can an accountant decide to write off this? What do you think? In your business, if you have like several people don't pay, if this morning you come, I will write off everything. Can you do that? No. You need to get approval from the top authority of the business. Only then, actually I will write here with appropriate.
What's meaning this one? Appropriate.
Appropriate yani if how to explain. Now let's say for my business, inta malum mudir min avatar. Okay. Let's say Tani business Tani pipeline this kulut pharmacy. Huwa mudir mungkin fi Tani number, mungkin huwa ma fi wahid mudir, mungkin several like 5 people. So in my business only Abu Talib if we tawqi khalas. Lekin Sharika Kabir wahid number tawqi la. mark off. Again, mungkin ada senior directors and then CEO and then board meeting and minutes of meeting kulli sei. So that's what I said, appropriate, mode appropriate. Should be so. Clear? So this is all about irrecoverable debts. Now we have something called allowances. Before old name is
اللغة بيكون على مسؤوليات.
now we have allowances for irrecoverable debts. Before it is provision for doubtful debts. So this is the new second part of it. When you talk about allowances, there are two types of allowance. First one, general. Second one, specific. So what do you mean by this actually? Let's try to understand. In a normal operating business, you think average how many customers you have? You will have only one or two customers, or you may have 10, 20, 50, 30 customers. Normal operating business, we may have like minimum 20, 30 customers we will have, right? So in an Excel sheet, we will have all customers list. A, B, C, like that. I may have up to whatever the customers are. Then I will have total receivable from each customer. So I will have from each customer, I will have receivable. Then this is my total receivable. Total receivable in my. But then we also, see, we are using Excel or we are using some accounting software. We can also split this individual receivable into its age. How long each customer should be paying us. From the invoice date, they are now how long? We categorize that to 0 to 30 days, 30 to 60 days, 60 to 90, like that we can categorize. And then we will have the time when the customer is getting older, chances of them paying is also getting lesser. You agree? If the customer is on within 30 days, his chances of paying is very high. His customer is like more than 365 days. For him, paying is very less. So, as a policy of the company, without looking at individual customers, if I make a provision from the total like this, that provision is known as general provision. If the company have a policy saying that any receivable above 180 days, I will keep 10%. They will not pay us. Any receivable more than 365 days, I will set 50%. It's a, it's not any standard. It's just I gave example. It's a company policy. So you calculate. Let's say here, it came 12,500 for example, and here it came 25,000. So what is the total allowance then? 37,500. This calculation, this answer is what we call general. Now, by calculating this 37,500, can you associate to any of the customers individually? Can you say that of that 37,500, 12,000 belong to them? We cannot say. But why? We are doing on the total. This way of calculating allowance, what you call general allowance. So we can say that when computing receivable allowance from the total receivable,
Computing meaning the
calculating. Yes.
Based on its what?
Based on its age. Yani
عمر.
General allowance. Clear? Faham? Yeah, sir? Good. Article understood?
This is general, huh?
Yeah, this is general, yes.
General.
General.
Gender or general?
Spelling is like this, G-E-N-E-R-E-R-A-L, general.
General.
Yes. There's only one word, I guess. There's no two words, right?
So meanings.
No, meanings are different, but the spelling is
Spelling
only
is
one. It's common. I wanted to give the meaning of common. For that we use general provision or general allowance. Clear? Now we have specific allowance. Now what is specific allowance? Now you see we have this list. In this list, there are one or two nafaras, father meaning. We have doubt. Or mungkin aati, mungkin maati. We don't know, surely we will not pay or surely he will pay, we don't know. But we have a doubt. Let's say, for example, this man. That man is receivable with a bit of a doubt. But we cannot conclude, we cannot confirmly say he will not pay also. But the behavior of him make me thinking that this guy is maybe a risk for us. So, without writing off, if I know for sure this man will not pay, then I have to do what? I have to do this. But now situation is not that. I have a doubt. So without really taking out from the receivable list, what I will do, I will create an allowance. So if that situation, this we call it specific allowance. We make an allowance against individual customers based on the doubtful behavior of them. Clear? So we say that when any given specific customers are doubtful in nature and when we create relevance against them, it's known as
are doubtful.
doubtful in nature. That is what habit. वो नफर माफी सीधा निशाद अमीन आदना पतिदा one time when I'm in Sri Lanka, when I'm a childhood, we were doing a small grocery shop. My father was doing a grocery shop and we were there as salespeople. This one guy, he used to come to buy things, but he never pays. My father's friend, he comes, we buy grocery, but he is not paid. So we then internally decided, hereafter we are not selling to this man. We actually at that time, I am talking about 1980s, 83, 84, like that. Around 2000 rupees he has to pay. In 1983, 2000 rupees meaning huge money for Sri Lankan point. So next day he came. And then he started taking a lot of items. 5 kilo dal and 3 kilo rice and this fish can, that and this. We were saying, we are passing hint to him that our father said not to give loan to anybody. Our sister also came and asked, we never given. He started laughing. And then finally he gave the money. So the end of the story is, he gave the money, but it was creating us to make a doubt because of his behavior. So when in a business we realize that someone is not going to pay on time or dragging or not meeting the promises, giving the check and calling and say please don't deposit. These type of people are not really, good. But then after 2 days he will say deposit, and sometimes when you deposit money will come. Check won't bounce. But then again it's a bit of a hassle. So those situations we consider that as specific. However, now we need to find out the accounting entry. Accounting entry for both general allowance and specific allowance same. Now please remember, in the irrecoverable debts double entry, the debit is here. Clear? I am increasing my expense. And the credit is there. What I am doing is I am removing from the balance sheet. my assets will go down. The difference in passing accounting entry for allowance is that we will not touch the receivable. Receivable will still be in the books, but we will recognize the expense. Alas, this man will not pay me. But I will not tell him. I will still keep it in my receivable, and my debtors team, they will follow up with it. But accountants, we will then make a clear financial statement. So the entry will be now, you will debit to irrecoverable debts as allowance, and then credit to allowances for receivable. So I believe all of you understood the difference here, that I am not removing the receivable. Let's pick a small example. Let's say I have receivable $100,000, and we decide to make an allowance of 5%. So how much is the allowance then?
5,000.
5,000. 100,000 into now what is double entry for this? Debit recoverable, yes, as allowances 5,000, and then I will credit where? Allowances for receivable. These are double entry. Now let's think about the P entries, ledgers, P accounts. Entry clear? Is that clear? Entry is clear? Now let's balance this. What do you think this narration? This narration will be where?
P.
P entry, exactly. And let's balance this. What do you think the narration here? It should be now, after understanding this, we will find out in our financial statement where to show this. So, we have under expenses, I will have allowances for recoverable debts. I mean, so this will increase my expense, so my profit will be in the balance sheet. So this is my statement of financial position, which you call it balance sheet. So how to show this now? So this is a, see, brought forward, it's a balance. So this should be shown in my balance sheet. We have to show under current assets, you have receivable. How much?
100,000.
My receivable example situation here, 100,000. This 100,000. But now in this 100,000, we have a doubtful debt of 5,000. So what you do is you deduct allowance. How much? So what is the net answer? Clear? Now what is the justification? In the irrecoverable debts, we are totally written off this. And again the receivable is only this much. Here our receivable is still 100,000, but we, for our shareholders, we are showing the pure picture.
This 5,000 meaning also recoverable, not earned.
Doubt.
Doubt.
100% we cannot say no.
Yeah.
If it's understood, definitely you know you cannot recover, then what you need to do is you need to do this. Is that clear? Okay. So, now, fine. Now another interesting situation.
So,
Yeah, Eva.
this 5,000 now in B&L. Okay.
Yeah, this one.
Okay. Why we put here in
Double entry you think, brother. I debit to P&L and I credit to allowance. So this 5,000 going to P&L. Masmud? Alam ini. Lakin how? We have to present.
This meaning it is rule debit normally coming from B&L or not?
Generally, you can say that. But asset also debit. Correct? So here, brother, we are creating a doubt about this amount, and then I need to, when the amount, the moment you have a doubt, prudence concept saying what? You should never overstate risk. So then, when I present here, you see, I am reducing and showing a net picture. But this need to reflect my P&L. I cannot show to my shareholder that my profit is including this 5,000. Clear? Okay, now the situation is even more interesting. Follow this situation now. Now, my allowance on this day is 5,000. We calculated. This came how? Because of the last year. 31st December 2019. That only we have done on this. Now we are in 2020. My opening balance, my allowance, brought forward, opening balance how much? 5,000. Now when I move into 31st December 2020, my receivable becomes 150. My receivable becomes 150, and still we keep a policy that 5% is doubtful. So how much is 5% of 150? 7,000. See, at the end of 31st December, my total allowance is 7,500. Does this 7,500 include this 5,000 or not?
Yes.
It includes. So how much increased? 2,500. So my closing balance, how much? 7,500. So now what we do is we balance this. So we have 75, and then I have a balancing figure.
Mr. Muhammad, please,
Yes.
I want to remember the difference between brought forward and carried forward.
Of both. Brought forward opening balance.
Only.
Carried forward closing balance. Beginning balance, closing balance. You can think B is beginning, C is closing.
This brought forward also coming normally credit side.
Depending on what type of the ledger.
Oh, yeah.
If it is asset, then it will come on the debit side. Again, if it's a, you are talking about your table, it's asset. Then opening balance should be debit.
Okay.
But here it is allowance. It's a provision. Provision is a credit.
Okay. And the other one, credit.
Yeah. See, when you have brought forward balance from the credit side,
Credit in the balance or what?
closing balance.
Closing balance, closing balance.
Yeah. So your closing balance became 7,500. Your opening balance became 5,000. So I have a difference of how much?
240.
2,500. So last year, what I did with this 5,000, I have taken to recoverable tax. So this year, what you should do with this 2,500? Your expense should be increased by how much?
25.
So this should be transferred to P&L or should be transferred to irrecoverable debts account. Clear? So now 2020 your P&L and the expenses you will have increase in, we name this increase in allowance. Why? Opening balance is 5, closing balance is 7,500, so the difference is increase. Am I right? Clear? So, increase in allowance how much? 2,500, and this will be reflected in your expenses. So your expenses, what should happen? It should increase. So when the expense increase, what will happen to your profit?
Decrease.
Balance. Then your statement of financial position, under current assets, you have receivables. How much receivable you have now? 150. And how much is allowance? So you will have to show net amount 142. Is that clear? We could also have another situation. The opposite of this. Can I continue to the next one? Is that all clear? Okay. Now let's look into this now. January 2020, 31st December 2020. Here my allowance is 5,000. Here my receivable is, let's say, 85,000. And my percentage, who decides the percentage? The management decides the percentage. Is there any equation or standard or compulsory regulation? No, it's just that the management policy. So let's say the percentage now. Percentage is 4%. So can you calculate 4% of this, please?
3,400.
2,000?
3,400.
3,400. Now we have allowance account brought forward how much? 5,000.
Okay.
Closing balance how much?
8,400.
3,400.
3,000?
Total.
No, no.
Only this quantity.
Closing balance of the first
3,000.
3,000. Now let's balance this. If you balance, now we are balancing figure on which side?
Debit.
On the debit side. So 5,000. 5,000. So you have a balancing figure on this side. How much?
1,600.
1,600. Now this situation is good to the company or bad to the company?
Good.
It's good to the company. So this should be taken to profit and loss account as what? As a no, expense decrease, correct. As an income. So you will transfer to profit and loss account. Now in the P&L under expenses you have irrecoverable debts, maybe during the year, I don't know, whatever the number is. Now how do you name this? Now this we named it increase. So this you should name it as what?
Decrease.
Decrease. So decrease in allowance. 1,000. So what will happen to your expense now? It will reduce. So your profit will.
Okay.
So on the other hand, in your statement of financial position, you have under current assets receivable. You have 80, how much? 85,000. Then allowance, how much? 3,000. These are the numbers. Clear?
Okay.
Okay. So stop the video.